is up, everybody? You know who it is. It is your allies behind enemy lines, Ryan and Joey, coming at you thoroughly behind enemy lines in Cowboys territory, holding it down for all our Washington team football fans out there. As always, check us out here on YouTube. That's hopefully where you're watching us. Hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell, so as soon as we drop this latest and greatest heat, rings to your phone, rings to your computer, rings to wherever you have your notifications set up to let you know, hey, you got some heat waiting for you. Come watch it. Come listen to it. It's going to be some fire. Check us out anywhere you find your podcast, Spotify, Google, Apple. We're also on SoundCloud, all by searching Allies Behind Enemy Lines. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Twitter at AlliesBEL. We got all of our links in the bio for our on our Twitter. So anywhere you need to find us, you can. We also got our hot shirts. I don't know, Jory. I see Burgundy. You rocking it? There it is. We all need allies. Hashtag we all need allies and allies behind enemy lines. Washington football team podcast. I'm not wearing mine today. I'm looking pretty in pink, as Joe said. Love this sweatshirt. So that's what I'm rocking right now. It's like 75 degrees, but it's freezing in my house. That's how we roll. So, nice little sweatshirt to keep you nice and warm and cozy, and it happens to be pink, and you know what, I think I look great in it. So
hey man, I didn't want to get you all self-conscious. I was just making a joke. It was the first thing that popped in my
head. I'm not self-conscious at all. I love this sweatshirt. That's like one of the most comfortable sweatshirts I wear it all the time, so I'm not self-conscious at all. I wear this shit on the regular.
I don't know if you're trying to convince me or yourself there. I don't know.
That's fair, but no, like I said, I love it.
Do you sell these sweatshirts, or are you, I thought we were pushing these shirts over here, not these sweatshirts.
Good point. Yeah, so make sure you check us out on all our socials, all things like that. Joey, how's it going for you, bud? Enjoying the summer this far?
It's going good, first full week of no work, which is, no school, and it's kind of weird, because last summer, we didn't get a summer because of the pandemic. So it was just once, school ended, it was just like continuation of just being at home with the kids with just having not to squeeze in school with it. So what I've realized is I forgot what to do. I just forgot what to do when it comes to doing stuff. You haven't been able to do I forgot what I like to do. It's so weird. It's been so long, and it kind of, a lot of it, because as you became a parent, as a lot of things changed. But, with this happening, so young into their, so it's been an adjustment. But, I'm enjoying not having the stress level, the adjusting to not having to, have things to worry about is good. Other than just, obviously the day-to-day stuff. So I'm doing good.
That's
long
good.
Answer.
Awesome. Good to hear it. So not a whole lot going on as far as news in the Washington football team, around the Washington football team, which is good. If we're not making any headlines.
Yeah, no domestic violences in the past, or injuries.
Nothing.
Find some wood to knock on right now. But so we've had no news is good news sometimes, as you said.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So one of the things I wanted to kind of spotlight was a story that was posted on the Washington football team website, and it was about our linebacker core. It was written by Zach Shelby, who's a staff writer for the Washington football team, and it was really talking about how this linebacker core is learning to grow and work together. And although, we talk about all the time how there's some competition at position groups, there's guys fighting for spots, guys that don't want to, lose their starting spot, or guys that are trying to get that starting spot. But right now it's a bunch of young guys outside of John Bostic, who he's entering his 9th season as a linebacker in the NFL. The other, I think, 3 or 4 linebackers, they're all 25 or younger. Obviously, Jamin Davis coming in as a rookie. We have Cole Holcomb, who Jamin Davis has said he's kind of looked to Cole Holcomb as kind of being a leader and a guy that he wants to learn from, which that's obviously great. We got guys like Kaliki Hudson, who's been around the team for, a year or two now. So really how this linebacker core and this linebacker group, they're learning to play the position together. And, we've talked about how we don't really know who that starting 3 guys might be, whoever it may be, what spots they kind of fit in. But what it sounds like is, to them, it really doesn't matter. It's just like, how can we be the best core system, the best core group of linebackers that we can be, and trying to make sure that it's not necessarily, guys fighting each other to be to earn a spot, where obviously you want to be that starter. You want to be a guy that produces, a guy that contributes to the team. But how can we all kind of come together and work together and find this one common goal of being just the best position group that we can?
Yeah, and I think it speaks. I think it speaks, to the whole defense. As we focus on that linebacker group, is just how nobody wants to be outdone at the position as a group, and a lot of the focus obviously is on our defensive line, which right now a lot of the focus in training camp has shifted to the secondary, which is surprising. But as you said, I did read that story about Cole Holcomb taking on that leadership role with Jamin Davis, and it's one of those things that it's almost like I've never, as we talked about getting a linebacker, we've been preaching about it for months, before, the draft. That was our biggest need, especially coming out of my mouth, was, we need a linebacker. And I think that a lot of the, speaking of that, made people forget about, we did have a couple of good guys there, someone like Cole Holcomb and someone like, Bostic, who did play well last year. It's not, it wasn't like I think I put it back as an analogy a while back. It's like we had pit bulls, but we didn't have anybody to control them. We didn't have anybody to kind of, lead up that middle part. And I think as we see these guys learn to play with each other, it's almost like you have a pack working together, versus having one person leading the pack versus, or kind of giving the orders there. You have a pack that's working together, and as you said, making big plays. As you've seen in training camp, I think it was Kaliki Hudson has made a couple one-handed interceptions and great plays out there. And someone that you never even whose name wasn't even spoken, I think, last year. So that's just goes to show the competition that's been created and the growth that's happening within that position. And I think the overall excitement on that defensive front is what's fueling this. Is what's fueling this whole. I mean, if you look at any training camp videos, it's 90% defense, and 90% of the time that defense is losing it on the sideline. They're fired up. They want to get they want to grow. They want to be the best defense in football. And I think everybody is playing that way, from the top of the roster to the bottom of the roster. And that linebacker core is definitely reaping the spoils right now.
Yeah, absolutely. You're 100% right about any videos you see coming out of training camp. It is a lot of this excitement, a lot of this fire coming from the defensive side of the ball, but also too. I mean, not to short the offensive side, but we know the explosiveness that can come from that side of the ball too. But you mentioned Kaliki Hudson. He did have 2 starts last season, and he said he impressed. It was said that he impressed Ron Rivera, quite a bit in those 2 starts. In college, he played kind of that role that we've seen a lot of guys play now, where he was kind of like a linebacker safety hybrid for Michigan. And so, he's got the athleticism, he's got decent size. So that's a guy that all 3 of these guys, Jamin, Cole Holcomb, and Kaliki Hudson, can kind of really play all 3 linebacker positions, right? You can kind of interchange them and almost play like, the ball under the cup and just kind of, switch them around and try to make the quarterback guess, hey, who's the Mike in this situation? Who's the Mike linebacker? Who's the Will linebacker? Things like that. And really confuse defenses where, you kind of have, we've talked about, I don't know if we've talked about it in a while, but we've seen what we call the amoeba defense, where it was all these defensive linemen and linebackers. They were just kind of around the line of scrimmage, but nobody was really down. They were just kind of, constantly moving. And it became a big issue for a lot of quarterbacks. And I think we can see some kind of semblance of that, from our linebacker group, where it's, who, like I said, who's the Mike linebacker, who's the Will, who's dropping back in coverage, who's blitzing, things like that, because there's all 3 of these guys. And then, not to short John Bostic either, because he's been a great tackler. He's a guy that can get after the quarterback, a guy that can make plays in the backfield. So that's what's really exciting, is these guys kind of learning and wanting to be just the best linebackers, not the best middle linebacker, not the best strong side linebacker, not the best weak side linebacker. They just want to be the best linebackers possible and looking towards each other to help that growth. And the fact that Cole Holcomb I think he was a rookie in 2019, and now flash forward to, preseason 2021, and he's being looked at as a mentor. I think that speaks volumes to, is he, we've talked about him, in some of his shortcomings as far as being a linebacker, but just being a leader and being a football player in that sense. The fact that you can be looked at as a mentor your second year into the season for a guy that was a top draft pick, the first pick of the draft for the team, I think that speaks volumes to him and the leadership role that he can provide. And then obviously don't forget Jack Del Rio, defensive coordinator, and Ron Rivera. They were both pretty decent linebackers in their playing days too, right? We've talked about that. So those are 2 guys that have a good grasp on what this position entails and what this position needs. And then now you have a group that's wanting to come together and work together and just be just like you said, a group of just pit bull badasses getting after the quarterback, making plays downfield, making plays in the backfield. And then we were, like you said, that's setting the tone with that defensive front 4. It thinks, I mean, I think the sky really is the limit with this defensive group, especially if these linebackers play together and play well together, and we see them take that extra step. I mean, we could be talking about one of the all-time defenses.
Easily. I mean, and that's again, we're just talking about right now linebackers coming into their own because we already know what this defensive line goes. I'm glad you brought up Jack Del Rio and his assessment because I think I came out this quote this last week of him saying about Jamin Davis coming in. You know, that reminds him just how Chase Young came in last year. Nothing but business, nothing but football. Nothing, you know, so that we got 2 wins right there. Not to speak of the depth position of Cole Holcomb 2 years ago, and who expected him? I remember we looking over 2 years ago. You're looking into the division at Leighton Vander Esch. Like, man, we need somebody like that. And look, we got somebody like that. I think that you look back, arguably over the last 2 years, I guarantee you he has more tackles than him. Leighton Vander Esch obviously had the injuries, but staying on the field is definitely a skill once in its own. But and I'm glad you touched on. Excuse me. I'm glad you touched on that hybrid type that we're talking about with Kaliki Hudson. Because I think, we got a ton of guys like that. Even as you look farther back into the secondary, Landon Collins, someone that can step up as well and play one of those roles. And as it's coming through training camp, that Derek Forrest, I mean, that 5th round pick, who just reading all we had at that point was like what they call a vanilla pick or a vanilla ice cream pick right there. Someone we really didn't know a lot about. You read it sounded very basic. Nothing really, doesn't have the great skill set, doesn't have anything great. Just kind of just does his job. And then he's in camp. He looks huge. I mean, he looks like he looks like he's a little bit smaller than Kaliki Hudson and a little bit bigger than the rest of our safeties. I mean, he's bigger than Cameron Curl. So I mean, we got some. So that's someone that can play with that intensity. And I think he's been out there doing that as well. We got a bunch of athletes on defense. Guys that, like you said, that are not just playing a certain type of position. They're just defending the ball and learning to play the field together. And when you have that type of chemistry on defense, then you can do things that what you're talking about. You can do all types of things outside of the norm to confuse, these defenses. I think I was reading an article about the cover 7 defense. Have you even ever heard of a cover 7 defense?
Cover 7 defense? No. So we got four linemen and everybody else just drops back into coverage?
I get, apparently that's the defense that was run by Tampa Bay and the last 2 Super Bowl winners. And it's this cover 7 defense, and I've never, I'm not familiar with it. I guess obviously you got 4. I play it in Madden a lot. When guys are like 3rd and 18, I'll just drop everybody back and drop a couple spies and drop everybody in coverage and say, hey, I'm gonna rush these linemen. I'm gonna bet that they can get to you before you can get a guy 20 yards downfield open. So I mean, it makes a lot of sense, especially if you're dealing with a guy like Patrick Mahomes who kills you on that type of moving the ball, moving the pocket around and making plays with his legs. So but yeah, I mean, we have athletes like what we have on defense. You're talking about, a cover 7 defense is basically what you're talking about. You have 4 guys that can get to the quarterback no matter who you have blocking up there. And if you have, and I've said that, and I think I said that before all year long, when you can get pressure with 4 guys, what you can do on defense is limitless. As far as coverages, as far as blitzes, as far as zones, as far as, all kinds of things. So we have that foundation. So I think that really fits the formula. If you think about it, let's just get a bunch of athletes to put back there beside these 4 guys that we know are going to get at the quarterback. And if they can play to their potential, like you said, the sky is the limit on this defense.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen, or we up to this point, that's kind of what the whole roster construction has been, is like just athletes. You look at the offensive side of the ball, obviously Terry McLaurin being here, and then you go and get Curtis Samuel, and then obviously Antonio Gibson, JD McKissick, guys that can do both, run the ball and catch the ball. Logan Thomas, I mean, that guy's an athlete. You want to talk about being a D1 quarterback and then seamlessly making the transition to a tight end? That's an athlete. We look over at the defensive side of the ball, all the guys you just mentioned, like it's just fast, speed, size, like a good mixture of everything. So obviously with the 4 down linemen, we got Young, Payne, Allen, and Sweat. Oh, let's not forget we're getting back Matt Ioannidis. Oh, let's not forget Tim Settle had a great year last year. He's coming off one of his probably his best career year. Like, there's going to be some guys. I know I keep mentioning Shaka Toney. I think Shaka Toney is going to surprise a lot of people. I'm looking forward to some things out of William Bradley King. I think he's going to do some good things off the edge. So, those 2 guys that we bring in the draft. Yeah, those guys bringing in the draft, I think they're not plug and play, but they're guys that you put into a system and you put in the right spots, and you're not going to see that huge drop off that you see from second group. Sometimes you're still going to see guys that get after it and put pressure on the quarterback. And we get guys outside the pocket. Ryan Kerrigan was a very good guy that could get the quarterback outside the pocket, but guess what? He was running by him about 5 or 7 yards. I know we make that joke and talk about it all the time. So he would make that quarterback step up into the pocket, but guess what? He just ran by him. So it really doesn't matter. Now when we see the guys coming in from the edge and the quarterback has to step up, guess what? There's Deron Payne. There's Jonathan Allen. There's going to be Matt Ioannidis. Now you get pressure up the middle. Guys got to go left to right. Well, guess what? Now you got two of the best edge rushers in the league coming at you. I mean, it's just the sky is the limit. The possibilities are endless of what outcomes we're going to cut. Now, I'm not saying we're not going to get 8 or 10 sacks every game like we saw week 1 against Philadelphia, but the amount of pressures, the amount of bad throws we're going to force, the amount of coverage sacks we might get. I mean, because now you're talking about a defensive line that can get after the quarterback, no problem. Well, guess what? Our secondary is so much better than it was. So now you're looking at maybe a quarterback having to hold the ball 4, 5, 6 seconds. No chance there's going to be any lineman that can block those 4 guys for 4 or 5 or 6 seconds. And the coverage sacks or the balls we're going to get thrown away. So many times how many times have we seen 3rd and 10, 3rd and 12, 3rd and 15? And guess what? There's a pass that gets completed, and now it's first down. That's not going to happen as often. Is it going to happen? Probably still going to happen. It's still the NFL. But you could almost set your watch to it. Oh, here's 3rd and 11. Guaranteed we're going to give first down. Bang, there it was. Almost every time. And it's usually a tight end over the middle or a wide receiver running free across the middle or down the sideline. So I don't see that happening. And like I said, the possibilities are endless. The sky's the limit of just how good this defense can be and all the different ways we can attack an offense and a quarterback in the running game and the passing game. And with Jamin Davis, I think we're going to be able to finally have the size and speed to cover tight ends to where we're not going to that's not going to be our Achilles heel. And so, it's exciting. It's as long as we can take care of the ball on offense and at least find a way to cross into that painted area a couple times and not leave it up to friggin' Dustin Hopkins to miss 35-yard field goals over and over again. We should see a lot of success and see, and we're probably going to get a lot more possessions than we usually do because we're going to be forcing, whether it's forcing punts or just forcing turnovers or whatever it may be. I think we're going to see an uptick in how many possessions we actually get per game, as well.
Yeah, when you think about great defenses in the past, you think about them having great players at all positions. And when you look back at the 85 Bears, and when they had those interchangeable linebackers, they had Wilbur Marshall, they had Otis Wilson, they had Mike Singletary, they had Ron Rivera, they had Richard Dent, William Perry, Mike Richardson. They had every position. With the Frazier, they had, Gary Fenwick. Every position was a notable person. Now we're getting to the point now where every position on our team has a notable player. And, and I remember, I watched those 85 Bears. I don't really remember the 2000 Ravens that much for some reason or another. But I did watch the Seattle Seahawks' Legion of Boom. And that's the only two defenses I can remember that those are the type of defenses that win games on their own. And and offenses I don't care if it's the best offense in the NFL, like Peyton Manning was that year, I think, with the Broncos. They could not stand up against that defense, And I think that we have something just like that cooking right now, as far as if it's going to be this year, if it's going to be next year, if it could be immediately week 1 in against the Chargers. But we've talked about the goals of this team, but last year, goal 1 always beat the Cowboys. Goal 2, win the division. Goal 3, win the playoffs. We did all 3 of those in Ron Rivera's first year. So, do we have our expectations set higher than that? Of course. Of course you want to get better than that each year. I think it starts with the record. Obviously, we want to start winning more games, and I think we're going to do that by putting points on the board. But we've addressed every concern that we've talked about in the immediate. Obviously, if the long term, the quarterback position is a different story. But from what we're seeing in camp, Taylor Heinicke's hyped. He's stronger. He's bigger. He came ready to compete. And Ryan, it looks like Ryan Fitzpatrick already has, a chemistry with, they're saying building a chemistry with Terry McLaurin. And, that wide receiver core is deep, and it's going to be exciting to see what this team can do.
Absolutely. I mean, you said it perfectly. Like we're getting to that point where it's like on defense, especially. I mean, offense really too. This whole team. It's just like every time I want to point to one position or one side of the ball or one, specific player, like, oh man, this looks like it's really well, don't forget this one. Oh wait, don't forget this one's like, holy shit, do we have a complete team? Like, when have we ever been able to say, wow, like this is a complete team? Like, we have the secondary, we got the linebackers, we definitely have the defensive line, offensive line. That might be the biggest weakness, and even that isn't even that big of a weakness. Like if I had to grade it, maybe a B plus, B, and that's probably being a little
And that's just
harsh.
because we haven't seen, and they haven't been proven. We can't just blindly praise them with an A, But I think that they have the potential of easily being an A. They're building off of what we did last year.
Yeah, I mean it's an offensive line that has a perennial All-Pro in Brandon Scherf, a guy in Charles Leno coming over that's hasn't missed a game in what was it, 5 or 6 years, something crazy like that. Wes Schweitzer, a guy that we saw really step up and perform in a spot last year at the guard position. Chase Roulier, another guy that's, has been a solid pick for us since he's come in at center. And then whoever may be at right tackle, whether it is Samuel Cosme, as a second round pick or whoever we decide to throw in there. Like I said, we haven't seen them all perform together and play together, so we can't just blindly say, oh, yeah, this is set up. But then again, you go to the quarterback position. I feel good about it with Ryan Fitzpatrick. Even if he doesn't pan out, I feel good about Taylor Heineke going in there and at least being able to try to win us some ball games. Absolutely love the wide receiver group. Feel pretty good about the tight end group. Running backs, I mean, they've done is really improved this year. I don't know if you saw the videos of Jarrett Patterson making cuts and running by guys. I mean, he looks good. Like, I know they're just in shorts and shirts, but he's cutting and making guys miss. And I know they're not tackling or hitting or anything, but just the jump cuts, the acceleration, the burst, like that puts a little chubby in my shorts. I'll tell you that. So, I mean, it's like, holy shit, we might actually like have a complete team and not just our 22 starters. No, depth behind those guys too. So it's like, it's kind of funny because again, I'm not used to it. I haven't ever felt this way about the Washington football team or the Redskins or whoever it was that was suiting up in the burgundy and gold, where it's like, wow, like there isn't really a hole or a big glaring hole that we need to fix. Maybe other than kicker, even our punter, we might have the best punter in the league. It's just ridiculous.
It is. I mean, definitely the coolest punter in the league.
Ridiculous in a good way.
Which other punter can say they were used as a quarterback to win the Madden championship ever? So best handoff ability ever. But you're right. And it's it's one of those things and you for those that have been out there in the dating world, as you get older and you meet girls and oh, this is the one you meet when you're 18 years old. Oh, this is the one, and it goes terrible in 3 weeks later. And then you're so willing to say this is the one so fast. As you get a little bit older and a little bit wiser, you get a little bit more picky with these types of things. You're like, I'm not so quick to let my guard down and accept that this and give myself to this because I've been hurt so much before in the past. But it's becoming that point now. We're ready to give ourselves. We're ready to give ourselves to this team completely and put our trust in it and know that we're not just, go back to how it used to be, and I think I said this before, and I don't think you've ever known this, where I expected to win every week. This week it's like we pray. It's like, oh God, every Sunday is a crisis. It wasn't like that.
Hope it's not too ugly.
Exactly. It wasn't like that when I was a kid. We were 11-5, 10-6 every year. We were like the Seahawks or the Steelers at that time. They were just consistently, decently good. We might win the playoffs. We might, who knows? But we're always good. And so I'm ready to return to that. And I think that we are our personnel from the bottom of the roster all the way to the top of the owners ready for that too. And everybody's working towards that common goal. So, I mean, just like you said, quarterback position might be the biggest area people can point at. But, I mean, who was not excited a second Taylor Heineke was ever played? Every second he's played in the game was the most exciting Washington football I've watched, And so that's what we have in him no matter what, as our backup. And not to mention Ryan Fitzpatrick, who knows what's going to happen there? Same thing as there. We're going to have guys that used to be like, I hope we can get the ball down the field. But not anymore. Now it's going to be like, how many times? How many points can we score?
How many turnovers can we get? How many sacks can we get? How many? Yeah, exactly. Like I said, it's exciting times. I just made this up, but you can't spell Super Bowl without LB, also known as linebackers. And now we have those linebackers. So that's where this conversation started, and that's where I wanted to kind of wrap it up, put a little bow on it, and say, because we talked about it time and time again, that's the spot we need to fix, and we did that. And now to see that they're coming together, they're wanting to play together, they're wanting to learn the position as a whole group and as a whole position group, as a core. It's great. It's great for the team. It's only going to be even better for that defense. So I'm looking forward to it big time, just like we mentioned for the last 25, 30 minutes, however long it's been. But today is, what's the date today? The 7th, June 4th. It's June 4th. We are officially 100 days away from the first game of the season. So time is ticking away, 100 days away. I just wanted to mention that because pretty soon it's just going to be around the corner. I know summer just started. We just got past Memorial Day. But clock starts ticking. I think 100 days, a nice round, even number where it's like, okay, bang, let's start this bad boy. Let's get this thing cooking in the right direction. Still haven't seen Chase Young out at OTAs. Again, they are voluntary. Or excuse me, I guess it's voluntary minicamp. It's not OTAs just yet. So he's still putting in work. I believe he's out in California working out. He looks great. I've seen videos of him. I don't know if you've seen him as well, running around, getting after guys. He's going to come in shape. He's going to come in ready to go, ready to get after it. So once we get him in camp, things I think will feel like they're really, really cooking, really getting after it. But everything coming out so far has been good news. Again, like we said, we don't have any domestic violence issues, no drug charges, no drunk driving charges. Nobody's getting cut or released this year because of getting in trouble. So it's things are looking up around the old football team, I must say.
Yeah, it's almost a proud time to be a fan. When we are
almost.
It's character. The character is there. And as you said, Chase Young not being there, Montez Sweat has showed up. I guess Leno had a child born was the reason he had gone originally. So that's good. It goes to show, But in Chase Young's defense, and I forgot who said it, might have been Ric Flair back in the day, though. You have to know how to make an entrance. So when he walks in there, he's gonna, we know what he's gonna look like already. I don't know if you saw this. Quick aside, real fast. The picture of him lined up as a wide receiver in high school. I was like, Jesus, imagine having a guard Chase Young. Yeah. Well, yes, he looked like Chase Young lined up as a wide receiver. Like, oh my God, get this guy away from me. But yeah. So when he walks in, we saw the videos, and when he walks into training camp, and everyone's got this good vibe. And he's just all ripped, and the first drill he runs, he just shreds by everybody, and they're like, oh, that's how you make an entrance. And that's how you go and make the impact of the team. And then you elevate because they're already going to have this, we already seen this excitement level on defense that they have and this passion that they have. And when you have, and your leader comes and shows that much, growth, it's just going to make, when you see your leader do that, you're like, oh boy, here we go, guys. Then we're already at this level, and this guy's going to put us over the edge. That's how you make an entrance.
1000%. We've seen it, already, but yeah, I don't know. I don't have much else. We're not live today, so we don't have the chat to come, ask us any questions. I don't know if you have anything to add on to, nice little short, quick hitter, some fun, little electric, lively chat. I don't know if you got anything else going on around the Washington football team.
Not too much. Like you said, it's been a quiet week as far as, any moves, especially around the league. We thought by now I thought we'd already heard a Julio and a Zach Ertz trade go down. I know those are the two big names to hit that June 1st, and I think it's just probably overvalued a lot this whole off season. People are overvaluing themselves, and then everyone else is super valuing their draft picks for next year. So it's going to take, I think, a lot less. So we're going to probably see him fall to teams that we didn't think we'd see him fall to, or maybe he'll end up back in Atlanta. Who knows? Well, he said he's out of there. He's out of there, so
he's out of there. He doesn't want to go to Dallas because he wants to win.
So we know two teams. That. I guess three teams. I guess the Ravens for sure said they were out. They signed a different Falcon X. Yeah. So I guess the Titans are making a big play for him, but we'll see.
Indeed. We still got other free agents out there. Richard Sherman is still out there. There's still a lot of other free agents, veteran free agents that maybe we'll see. If we see some training camp injuries, things like that, whatever the case may be. But
I see. I was going to say, before you sign us off, I was going to say, I also see us as a team, if we're playing at this caliber level that we think we're going to be playing at, you're going to see teams unhappy people wanting to jump to this team very, very soon. I think this team's going to, the bandwagon is forming. And that's fans and players. So I see us being a destination that's highly sought after if we can perform to the level we think we can by the middle of
Yeah,
the
no,
season.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing is, on paper we look solid. On paper it looks like everything's going in the right direction, but you got to put your money where your mouth is, and you cannot, not just talk the talk, but also walk the walk. And, Ron Rivera's done a great job of cleaning up an absolute dumpster fire in a short time. I think what really set the tone was the Darius Geis release. And then it just kind of built from there, and everyone kind of saw like, oh shit, you better mind your P's and Q's, keep your nose clean, or else you're going to be out of here. And in past cases, it would have been like, fine, get me out of here. I don't want to be around here. But now it's like you said, no, I want to stick around because they're building something special here, or something special is on the way. Now, maybe we're looking through it, looking at it through rose-colored glasses because of, our love and affinity for the team. But also, I mean, you can't deny it. You can't deny it. When we're being talked about by national media, that's when we're doing something right.
Every time this week, it's it's a quiet week in sports when they don't even have Good Morning Football on. I was shocked. I thought it was on every day. It was not on at all this week. Mm-hmm. But every time there's a show on, anytime during the day, because I always have NFL Network on somewhere in the house. Washington pops up constantly to be talked about, and that was not how it was a year ago. If it wasn't something bad or negative, or something for other than performance on the field material, and we're in normal talks like who's going to win the East. Somebody has us picking this. Somebody has us, who's going to have the best defense. There's so many things we have. Who has the best, wide receiver core. We have so many conversations that are being tossed around with our names in it just because of what we have on paper, like you said. So it's good time to be a Washington fan.
Indeed it is. Can't Matt might say there hasn't been a better time to be a Washington football fan than right now.
I'm gonna say the '90s were pretty cool.
Yeah, that's probably
late 80s. Late 80s. I was like in 4th grade. I was walking around, in El Paso with my Washington Redskins jacket, like owning the hallways back then.
Well, let's get back to it. Hopefully when you get back to school in August, September, October, you can walk around in your Redskins jacket, your Washington football team jacket, and own the hallways then. Once again, bring back some memories.
Yeah, because the kids at my school are brutal. So it was so funny. Just a quick story here. I was wrapping up, but a couple kids came back. They graduated high school. That I worked with when they were in 7th and 8th grade, and they're going off to college. And they wanted to come back and say bye to our middle school kids. And I was talking to a group of guys, all football players and fans. And then they're all, how you feeling about Washington? I talked to them in years, and they blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, we're looking good. They're like, yeah, you guys are actually good now. Can't give you all the crap we used to give you. And I was like, when kids, I know every time Washington plays, I think of you. Every time, and they all agreed. Oh yeah, and I'm anyone that's met me in my life, I guarantee you, when Washington plays, they're thinking about me just because of how I put my heart out there for them. But the one guy's like, yeah, I used to text you all the time when they'd lose, just to rub it in your face. But hey, those times, like you say, is all. We're probably not going to get a lot of texts this year. But hey, no. So like you said, it's not just us. The rose-colored glasses are being cast across all fan bases on our team. So
yeah, I love it. Love to see it. Keep it coming for sure. But that'll do it for us here on this beautiful Friday morning, afternoonish. By the time you're watching this, probably Friday evening, maybe Saturday, maybe Sunday. So hopefully you're watching it sometime soon. But until next time, always, again, check us out here on YouTube. Get that notification bell rung. Hit the subscription button. Make sure you're subscribed anywhere you listen to your podcast, Spotify, Google, Apple, SoundCloud. You can also find us again on Twitter at AlliesBEL. We also put all of our YouTube videos on our Facebook, Allies Behind Enemy Lines Podcast. Once you watch it, make sure you share it to your page so that way grandma, grandpa, aunt, uncle, anybody else that's in your family, because that's pretty much the only people you talk to on Facebook, right, is your family. Make sure they can watch it there as well and share it around. But for Joey, I'm Ryan. Until next week, y'all take care. Have a great weekend. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching.